Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 105 of Crunch Time. I'm going to be your host for today's episode. I am Tanner Dyslin, and as always, I am joined by my duo, Sam Gotzi. Sam, how you doing today, buddy?
Doing good, man. Sports are in full swing. Football, MLB, World Series going on. Pre or opening night of the NHL, preseason, NBA. A lot of going on. A lot to talk about in the upcoming episodes for sure.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, as always, for this week, we will, of course, spend a majority of the time talking about football, the main thing going on at the moment. But we may take a dip on the diamond, talk about a little baseball because those playoffs are in full swing, and pretty shortly we might have the semifinal set. So a lot going on, a lot to talk about. Got a full episode for you today. But before we do any of that, of course, as always, we're going to start with our winners and losers. Sam, who you got as your winner?
Yeah, my winner of the episode is none other than Kelvin Kiptum. He's a made some world records last weekend. He participated in the Chicago Marathon and set the world record with a time of 2 hours and 35 seconds. That is an approximately 4 minute and 36-mile pace over 26 miles. He beat the previous record by 34 seconds, and he's only 23.
Look, I get it. Maybe one day you can you wake up one day, you can go balls to the wall for 1 mile and maybe finish it in 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Over
26 miles.
I simply cannot fathom
So he
that.
probably ran shorter in a lot of
I was going to
those.
say the first half, like the first 13 miles, he was probably averaging
Yeah.
4:15. Like that is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. I mean, it's been said on this podcast that running is the most difficult sport. So
That's true.
maybe we
Maybe.
spend more,
Yeah.
time talking about this guy who I already forgot his name. I never really knew it in the first place. What's his name?
Kelvin Kiptum from Kenya.
Kelvin Kiptum.
From Kenya.
What a beast.
What a beast.
Shout out you. You need another shout out because that is absolutely insane. But for my winner of the episode, I'm going to go with USA Basketball. The lackluster performance in the World Cup seemed to have maybe persuaded a few players to join the cause for the Olympics. They are stacking all-stars like they're the freaking Avengers. USA got a commitment from Joel Embiid, which if you told me Joel Embiid was going to play in the Olympics, USA would probably be the last country I would guess that he would represent. But he is. What did we get? We had interest from LeBron. Did he say he was actually fully doing it, or is he just saying that? Did he just say I would have asked? But
I don't remember.
It looks like he's fully intending to play. I think KD said something of a similar caliber, and so did Devin Booker. So yeah, it seems like, let's see, the last MVP, of course, LeBron, KD, and Devin Booker will probably win an MVP soon in all likelihood. So yeah, I mean, USA Basketball is finally going to put out one of its best teams, which we haven't seen in a few years, really, since that Redeem team came and kind of took care of business back then. So
yeah,
massive win for USA Basketball.
Yeah, definitely. Another guy, couple guys you forgot to mention. Steph Curry has also shown interest. Jason Tatum and Anthony Davis as well. Obviously, these are not all confirmed yet, but they have shown interest in playing for the team. And they are even aggressively pursuing Drew Holiday of all players. I mean, I think he's one of the underrated players in the NBA. I mean, I think he'd be a good fit because he's not going to be a scorer. He'll lock down on defense and assists, and he's damn good at doing that.
That he is. Yeah, I mean, I guess like you said, he'll play just like he did with the Bucks. He was the piece that put him over the edge because of his ability to play D and score when needed. seems like with a team full of all-stars, maybe that defense might help bring home the gold. So I get it, but aggressively pursuing seems a little well aggressive for Drew Holiday. But let's turn the table, Sam. Look on the negative side of things. Who is your loser?
I mean, this is obviously going to be talked about this episode, and that is none other than Mario Cristobal, head coach of the Miami Hurricanes. As all of y'all know, I'm sure you've seen the clips all over X, Instagram, whatever social media you are on. You have seen this late in the game with, I want to say, 40 seconds left. Instead of just kneeling it out, Georgia Tech was out of timeouts. The U was up. They could have just knelt it. And game over, Miami with the win. Instead, according to some rumors, Mario Cristobal wanted his running back to hit that century mark for the game, so he handed it off. And disaster occurred. He ended up fumbling the ball. Georgia Tech gets the fumble, recovers the fumble, goes down in 2 plays, scores, and ends up winning the game off of a 44-yard pass from Christian Leary to Haynes King to win 23-20.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a bigger mistake.
Yeah.
Especially one that deserves so much blame. Like if a player makes a mistake, it's like whatever. Student athletes, they're just kids. Mario Cristobal, you get paid way too much money to be the head coach of Miami. It's not like he's the head coach of Florida International. He's the head coach of Miami, and he's making mistakes like this. I can't even begin to say what's not already been said by everybody about just how big of a mistake this is. I mean, fireable. Like it is totally a fireable mistake. That absolutely cannot happen. I also want to shout out the refs because I think he might have been down.
Oh, he was for sure down.
Okay. He was for sure down, but they saw the opportunity. If we call him, they call it a fumble, then we have the possibility for something hilarious to happen. But we won't catch any flack because everyone's going to talk about how he could have kneeled it out, but instead ran it and fumbled. So shout out the refs. Genius move. But Mario Cristobal.
Yikes.
What are you doing?
Yeah. Tough.
I can't. Yeah. Who is not the head coach of Oregon anymore.
Yeah.
And that's now the head coach of Miami, which I was calling during I think it was the Oregon-Colorado game.
Yeah. It happens.
Saying Cristobal, but he is not there anymore. So he is making mistakes down in Miami. Well, it is a tough episode for coaching, Sam, because I also have a coach on or as my loser, and that is maybe is he the least likable? Probably in the NFL, least likable head coach. Not in college, I don't think, because I think Brian Kelly might take that.
Yeah,
but the least likable head coach in the NFL, piece of human scum, might I add. Sean Payton, you are a loser, and I hate you. But Sean Payton, in the offseason, he took control of the Denver Broncos job. And of course, he could have just said, we're looking to improve this year. But no, in true, just a-hole fashion that Sean Payton truly is, he takes the opportunity to take shots at Nathaniel Hackett, calling it the worst coaching job he's ever seen. And that he's going to do so much better with this Denver Broncos team. Well, the Jets, which is Nathaniel Hackett's new team, he is, of course, their offensive coordinator, faced off against the Broncos. And, well, the Jets didn't have Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but Aaron Rodgers is hurt. So the Jets, with Zach Wilson, went into Denver and beat the Broncos in Denver after Sean Payton said all those things about Nathaniel Hackett. So Nathaniel Hackett with the revenge game of a lifetime. Sean Payton continues to take L's because he is just an unmitigated asshole.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, though. Nathaniel Hackett was a terrible coach.
Yeah.
But for a guy coming in and to do as bad as Sean Payton has done so far and just absolutely tearing apart their franchise quarterback, Russell Wilson, and seeing the outcome of how they played this year is quite hilarious. But yeah, definitely a big loser uh, coming from Sean Payton.
Yeah, I mean, he's yeah. By the way, I'm just doing some looking at their old schedule or their schedule last year. So, let's see, what are we? We're in NFL week
Week
5, right? We
five.
have completed
Yeah.
5. So through 5 games last year, uh, the Broncos were 2-3. This year they're 1-4.
Eh,
So it seems to me
they
like
should be 0 and 5.
should be 0-5. They should be 0-5. They fell down 28-7. Obviously came back in that game, but they're 1-4 with a miraculous comeback. They were 2-3 under Hackett.
Yeah.
I mean, who's doing the better coaching job there? Peyton. But yeah, Sean Payton continues to take L's, and he is going to be my loser. What's going on?
Breaking news. Dylan Brooks
Oh God.
has been ejected less than 5 minutes into his Rockets debut after hitting Daniel Tice below the belt.
Give it up. Give it up.
We got third loser of the episode.
But with specifically with Dylan Brooks, like it's something new every time.
It's impressive. The versatility.
Like I've never seen anything like it. Whether it's calling someone trash and then him just dropping like 31 on your head, whether it's just playing terrible offensive basketball, whether I mean, what else did he? Apparently now getting ejected. I mean, it's a new thing every time.
Yeah,
that is incredibly impressive. Well, way to stay relevant, Dylan Brooks.
There you go.
I haven't thought about you in a while.
Yeah.
So, definitely shout out you. But we got some playoffs going on, Sam.
Yeah.
It's been pretty fun, man. It's been pretty fun. We are currently in the middle of the division series. So before this, we had the wild card round, in which we talked a little bit last week. The Twins were able to pull out that win, but the wild card round, Sam, we did not get a game 3. We did not get a game 3. Every team who won game 1 won game 2. And that was the Phillies over the Marlins, the Diamondbacks over the Brewers, the Rangers over the Rays, and the Twins over the Blue Jays. So we definitely feel like the Tampa Bay Rays definitely deserve some big time criticism here. I mean, they started off the season absolutely historic, pretty much cooled off ever since then, and yeah, and a couple postseasons now have just kind of laid an egg.
Yeah.
So definitely deserve some flack there. But now we are in the division series. In NLDS 1, we have the Phillies and the Braves. This has been an absolutely must-watch series. Super fun games. That game is tied at 1-1 after the Braves were able to score 4 runs in the final, I think it was in the final 2 innings. In the 7th and 8th, because they were home, didn't come to bat in the 9th while winning. So in the last 2 innings, the Braves were able to score 4 runs and come back from a 4-1 deficit to tie it, going back to the bank in Philly. And the Diamondbacks, in a complete and total stunner, are up 2-0 on the Dodgers. Kershaw with an absolutely perfect playoff Kershaw performance in game 1. I think he gave up 6 runs before recording an out. Classic Kershaw. And on the American League side of things, Texas leads 2-0 on Baltimore, and they are currently up 6-1 in game 3. It looks like the magical season is over for Baltimore, so that definitely sucks. And then in the other one, the Twins earlier today on Tuesday took a 2-1 lead over the Twins. Now, Sam, when you look at this, namely on the National League side, and I guess with the Orioles too, the main thing that comes into question is after the regular season, the teams who got the bye, they had to sit for multiple days. I think it was like 5 or 6 days, and those were the Braves, Dodgers, Orioles, and Astros. Now the Astros doesn't seem to affect them, but the Braves got a really slow start, lost game 1, almost lost game 2. The Dodgers are down 2-0, got an incredibly slow start. and the Orioles are about to get swept. So a lot of conversation about the playoff format and kind of what they did in the expansion, getting rid of the 1-game playoff, and opting for this wild card series, but having more teams make the playoff and have a division winner play in the wild card series. So Sam, I guess I am curious, just from what you've seen in the MLB playoffs. Do you like the new format? Like,
I mean,
I kind of want to get your thoughts.
I get why they did it, because every other throughout the season it's consisted of a bunch of series. So I get why they didn't want the wild card to be 1 game. But those wild card games are some of the best games in the recent past of the MLB playoffs. I think this is a rare case, honestly, because we're seeing just absolute domination by a lot of teams. And like you said, teams struggling. But I don't know. I don't really have a very strong opinion, but I really did like the 1 game wild card. I just don't know. I just understand why they switched to this format for sure.
Yeah, it's such a big trade-off, because I think everybody agreed that the 1 game, like taking the spectator out of it, you just watch. Like I remember the Mets actually played in one of those games, right? They only had it for I don't even know, what was it, around 8 to 10 years or so.
Yeah.
The Mets played in one of those games, and I mean, every single pitch, you're just living and dying.
Mm-hmm.
It was a feeling of stress and honestly hopelessness, because there's nothing you can do about it. The mood for your mood for the next month is going to be decided by this 9 innings of baseball, and there's no going back. It was unmatched. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, right? So when your team is in it, it sucks. But it was so fun to watch. But you can also see that 162 games come down to 1 is incredibly fluky. I mean, the greatest regular season team in the history of the MLB still lost 46 games.
Yeah.
So in 1 game, you can obviously, anybody can win, anybody can lose. So I think everyone was in agreement that a 3-team playoff is probably better. But in order to make it work, you have to have 1 division winner drop down from what would be a bye, just a non-wild card team, bounce down into the wild card.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if you play a best of 3, the teams that do get the bye are sitting around for longer. So it's definitely a trade-off. I personally do like the current format. I think the best of 3 is a little bit better way to a little bit of a better way to make it less fluky. And even if a team does kind of show up and gets beat in the first game of the wild card round, they have plenty of time to right that wrong and maybe win a game 3 and move on. But yeah, and this really hasn't been a too big a problem. This is the second or third year they're doing it. I know last year the Astros won, they had the bye, so it's clearly you're clearly able to get past it, right? It's not just everyone who plays just he's got cobwebs all over him. But the Braves did, in fact, lose to the Phillies last year, and they started off slow this year. So that's definitely a recurring theme over in Atlanta. But tomorrow we have a huge day of baseball. You have the Astros and the Twins at 3 Eastern, 2 Central. Phillies Braves at 6 Eastern, 5 Central. Baltimore, Texas. If we need a game 4, which it's looking like we don't, at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, probably won't even play. And then, of course, the Dodgers and Diamondbacks at 10 Eastern and 9 Central. So, Sam, all those, we'll only pick the 3 because it looks like Baltimore and Texas we won't have.
Yeah.
Sam, pick them now. Who's winning it?
Oh, man.
Pick them now.
Oh,
vibes. That's all I want. All I want is vibes. Come on.
Man, Braves.
Braves over the Phils.
Braves over Phils. Oh God, this is. I think the Astros take care of the Twins. I don't think that's gonna be a close one. And then For vibes, I'm gonna give it to Diamondbacks to close out series.
Closed it at home.
Yep.
I like it. I agree with you on the Diamondbacks. I think the Phillies actually get that win at home, and I think Houston closes out Minnesota as well. So we might have some championship series tickets punched. Sam, also put you on the spot. World Series winner, go, go.
Oh man. Give me the Astros. Unfortunately,
Astros.
they are playing tremendous. As of recently, it seems like nothing can stop them, and I hate to admit, but they are looking good as anyone.
And they quite possibly have the best postseason hitter in the entire that's left in the entire league right now. And Jordan Alvarez went 3 for 5 today with the home run and 2 doubles. He's slugging one, or he has an OPS of
It's the trash cans.
1.2. Trash cans.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. He has an OPS of over 1,200. So
That's not bad.
Boy is absolutely crushing. My World Series prediction. I'm gonna try and say it without throwing up. I have a little garbage pail next to me. The Phillies.
Gross. It's disgusting.
I have the Phillies, dude. I think they last year they were 1 year away. Made some upgrades. Trey Turner's looking like the shortstop we all expected him to, and he will lead them to the World Series. Would be cool to get a rematch of last year. Phillies,
That would be.
Astros. It was a decently good series for a while. I think it was the Astros 1-6. It was 2-1 Phillies at one point though. So
yeah,
Phillies can definitely compete with them. But that's gonna wrap it up on the diamond. Again, a little quick update, some predictions. Maybe let's see how we do for tomorrow's games, and we had some World Series predictions in there as well. But definitely stay tuned into the MLB playoffs. They have been pretty good so far, and a lot of underdogs, as we said. So much so that a lot of people are questioning the format. Ready to get on the gridiron?
let's do it.
Let's do it. The main attraction, of course, this fall season is football. And for us, the main attraction within football is college football. That is our bread and butter. Well, we had the Red River rivalry. Big time rivalry. It was a great game. Did not disappoint. Both teams tried to give it away in the end, but the Sooners end up winning 34-30, get a big win over Texas, and they have jumped to number 5 in the nation, Sam.
Yeah, this game was electric, as it always is. Horns down, baby. Texas is not back. I want to focus on the battle of the quarterbacks. Quinn Ewers, excuse me, is probably one of the best. Is one of the best quarterbacks in the country right now. He'll be one of the top draft picks in this upcoming NFL draft. But he got outplayed today Saturday by Dylan Gabriel, and that's really why Oklahoma won. Dylan Gabriel, 23 for 38, 285, and 1 touchdown passing. And then on the other side, you might see Quinn Ewers has more yards, 31 for 37, 346 yards, 1 touchdown, but 2 interceptions, and those end up being costly in this one. Honestly, Dylan Gabriel is on a heater right now, and I think he is quietly entering himself into the Heisman race. I mean, he has 1,800 yards, 16 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, and then 208 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns in addition to those passing. So Dylan Gabriel is definitely a dark horse for me to enter the Heisman race.
You heard it here first on Crunch Time. Respect the lefty quarterbacks, Dylan Gabriel, and of course, the main lefty right now in Michael Penix. They're having awesome seasons. Sam, you're absolutely right. And I tell you what, people are going to look at this and see Dylan Gabriel's stats at 23 for 38, 285. Then look at Quinn Ewers' stats at 31 for 37, 346. And they're going to say he absolutely did not play Quinn Ewers. But they're not going to see that rushing. Those runs were incredibly important down the stretch, getting Oklahoma in control of this game late. I mean, Dylan Gabriel was awesome. The completion percentage wasn't great, but he more than made up for it with his legs, and the turnovers were 100% the biggest story in this game. I mean, the 2 interceptions from Ewers, as you said, and then they also lost a fumble. So in a 4-point loss, when you had three turnovers, Oklahoma had none. That's the key to the game right there. Not to mention committing 9 penalties to Oklahoma's 4. So Texas has to clean up a few things. Like, they can still move the ball, they can still score with the best of them. But yeah, the kind of the small stuff, right? The turnovers, the penalties, that all needs to be cleaned up if they are to make a deep playoff run. Do you think their playoff hopes are now done for with this loss?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think if they do win out, they do obviously need to win their conference, though. If they don't win the Big 12, then they are done for. But if they win out, I think they will be okay. But man, was this game fun. What do we have? We had I think the first drive of the game for Texas was an interception. Then we had a blocked punt for a touchdown by Texas.
Yeah.
Then we had I believe we had a fake punt by Texas. We had Oklahoma ran this trick play where on the kickoff, it was like one of the hook and ladder things.
Yeah.
Lateral it, but they were running the way they were running. They weren't running laterally. They were running towards like parallel to the sidelines. So it ended up being a forward lateral.
Nice.
On accident. So that got called back. It was just an absolute crapshoot. And the special teams were not great from either team, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, Oklahoma gets that win, jumps up to number 5 in the nation. Is Oklahoma back? I think they might be.
Yeah.
I love how the whole season, Texas is back. No, Oklahoma is back as proof of this Red River rivalry. But let's go to the ACC/independent, who plays an ACC schedule for some reason. But Notre Dame, they traveled to Louisville. Very much a surprise team this year. Was 5-0 coming into the game. Now they are 6-0 after they took down the Irish 33-20.
The biggest question for me here is what is going on with Sam Hartman? He has looked terrible these past couple games. Against Ohio State, he was 7 for 25, 175 yards, 1 touchdown. Against Duke, he was 15 for 30, 222 yards, 0 touchdowns. And then in this one, 22 for 38, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions with a QBR of 27.1. Tanner, we were talking about this guy. We were very high on him coming into the season. Had a terrific year last year at Wake Forest. Comes into a much better team, Notre Dame, and we have not seen him be the Heisman hopeful we were expecting from him this year.
Yeah, I'm totally ready to eat a big bowl of crow right here because I was all over Sam Hartman. The first 4 weeks of the season, granted, we all know what kind of competition the teams play in the first 4 weeks, but 42, 56, 45, and 41 points. The offense looked incredible. He was the quarterback they were missing. Notre Dame is going to have talent in the backfield, talent out wide. They're going to be good, just whether or not they can have that stable quarterback play. And Sam Hartman absolutely brought that. He was that last year for Wake Forest. But since those first 4 weeks, the next 3, 14, 21, 20. That's not good.
Yeah.
That is not good, including 2 losses, which effectively puts you out of the playoff conversation.
Yeah.
So you don't even have a conference championship to win. So you are done.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not good. It is not good. And it does not get easier for Notre Dame as next week they welcome in the Trojans in a big time rivalry game against Notre Dame. But yeah, no, I totally agree. We could talk about this. We could break it down. But for me, and I think also for you, this Notre Dame offense just needs to be better. Sam Hartman needs to be better.
Especially down towards the end of the game. We saw them. They had 5 turnovers in this game, Tanner. And 3 of their last 4 possessions ended in a turnover with about 7 minutes left in the fourth. down 27-13. Now you look at that score, it seems like a lot, but it's really a surmountable lead. Sam Hartman throws a pick. That Louisville gets a ball back, field goal. Then Notre Dame gets a ball back in just 4 plays. They fumbled the ball. Louisville gets it, field goal. Then Notre Dame finally scores a touchdown. And then on their final possession, they throw a pick to end the game and give Louisville a big win. So definitely need to clean up the turnovers. That's really why Louisville won this game, to be honest with you, Tanner. But definitely a lot of questions with Sam Hartman is the main takeaway in this one.
Yeah, for sure. And then looking on the other side of things, I mentioned Louisville of them being a complete and total shock this year. I saw them in person against Georgia Tech, and first half they didn't look great. Second half they came back and they absolutely took care of business, able to beat Georgia Tech. Obviously, mentioned that 6-0 record, but Jeff Brom coming back home. I mean, he was at Purdue last year, played at Louisville.
Yeah,
comes home, takes the job, takes Jack Plummer with him from Purdue, and they've put on an absolute show. And I do want to shout out Jawar Jordan, the running back for Louisville.
Absolute stud.
So in this game against Notre Dame, he had 21 attempts for 143 and 2 touchdowns. Against North Carolina State, this was a tough game. They won 13-10. Neither offense really got going, but he only had 32 yards. But excluding that game against Boston College, he had 18 for 134 and 2 touchdowns, including a 75-yard receiving touchdown. So 1 reception, 75 yards, and another touchdown. Against Indiana, 18 carries for 113 and a touchdown. Against Murray State, 7 carries for 135. That's
not bad.
That's an average of 19 yards per carry. And 2 more touchdowns. And then against Georgia Tech, he had 7 attempts for 96 yards and a touchdown. So he has scored a touchdown in all but one game, the North Carolina State game, where the offense has struggled. And he's had over 100 yards, all but 2, and one of them he had 96.
Not bad.
So he's had an absolute red-hot start to the season. One of the main reasons why Louisville has been playing as well as they have, because Sammy, look at Jack Plummer in this game. He only threw for 145.
Yeah.
Right. They can rely on Jawar Jordan here in that run game. They can maybe make some noise up to number 14 in the nation after this win.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the other side for the Fighting Irish, they could not get a running game going. Only had 44 yards. I mentioned that fumble. So mad props to Louisville's defense. It's been a story of Jawar Jordan just being able to run the ball and milk that clock. And we saw the Louisville defense step up in a big game, kind of a season-defining win, and holding Notre Dame to 44 yards rushing and making Sam Hartman as uncomfortable as we've seen him all year, forcing 3 picks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also looking, we're spending a lot of time on Louisville here, but deservedly so. I mean, this team looks really good. Looking at kind of how they close out their year, they get Pittsburgh next week. They're favored in that game. They do have to play Duke, of course. Duke's been pretty good this year, but this one's at home. Virginia Tech sucks. Virginia sucks. Then they got to go to Miami. I think Miami might kneel now, though.
Maybe we'll see.
So if you're down, you might not get a gift from Cristobal. That is gone. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow. Nathaniel Lowe for the Rangers just hit an absolute nuke. 7-1 Rangers. My God.
Yep, this is so
but then they finished the season at home against Kentucky. So that's another opportunity for a ranked win. They went out, Sam, hear me out. ACC champion wins over Notre Dame, Miami, Florida, Duke, and Kentucky. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. It's very possible with the way they're playing.
Especially if they win their conference championship. Because it's probably going to be Florida State. Right?
So.
Florida State.
Yeah, I forgot about Florida
State or probably Florida State.
I'm not up to snuff on my ACC divisions.
Yeah, I'm not either. So.
Yeah. Well, breaking news: we don't know ball.
Yeah, it happens.
Let's move on. Of course, our weekly tradition.
Let's skip over.
We have to complain.
No, we don't.
Because they find a new way to make all the fans just feel like crap after a win. Do they just go back to back? No, he flew out. Okay,
yeah.
But they
hit the gym, Joan.
They find a new way to make all their fans feel like crap after a win. They beat Purdue 20-14. I'll just leave it at that. Sam, you were at the game. Floor is yours.
After this game, we're 5-1, right, Tanner? I've never seen a fan base so disappointed to be 5-1. I mean, it's like we just lost to Purdue. It was dead silent. We did not deserve to win this game. We let's be honest here, Tanner. We might have overreacted to Deacon Hill a little bit.
Oh my god.
He played awful. 6 for 21, 110 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Yeah, might have overreacted, but we got Caleb Johnson back. Is honestly why we won this game. 17 carries, 134 yards, 1 touchdown. That was for 67 yards. But yeah, I think we might have overreacted to Deacon Hill. But of course, Kirk Ferentz got asked about it. Basically, why is Deacon Hill still going to be the quarterback next week? Yeah. I'm not planning on changing. Deacon is our quarterback right now, and that's no offense to Joe in regards to Joey Labus. That would be silly to make a change.
This is the shit I can't stand.
Yeah.
Part of what I was talking about after, what was it? Was it last week or was it after the
Penn State?
After the Penn State.
Yeah.
When we got so animated at the state of Iowa football, and specifically I shifted the blame from to Kirk because he's an enabler of all this. This is his ship and he's steering it into an iceberg. He's steering it into an iceberg because of shit like this, where our quarterback went 6 for 21, Sam. Deacon Hill went 6 for 21. Like
with zero completions to receivers, by the way.
To a receiver. This is easily the worst quarterback play Iowa has had in 3 years.
And that's saying something.
That I didn't think was possible. Now, this was not the worst offensive performance, the worst quarterback play, right? And you have a kid on your team who is now your backup, right? Was your third string.
Yeah.
He's young. Oh, and he won you a bowl game.
Yeah, he went 14 for 24, 139 yards and a touchdown.
That's more than double the completions that Deacon Hill had today against Kentucky. Who's better, Kentucky or Purdue? Kentucky is better. Newsflash, everybody. And
newsflash.
If you don't want to make a change, and it's okay to say Deacon Hill's our quarterback. Again, I think it's the wrong decision. I think he's making decisions that are not in the best interest of the team because he is arrogant right now, and he just wants to prove to everyone that he is smarter than them. The way Iowa's fan base is operating right now, they have so many things to say about the personnel, the play calling, and all of that stuff, to where he just wants to show everyone that he's smarter than him. Than everybody. So he's sticking to his guns, and his justification for everything is because I'm the coach, because I've been doing this for a long time, because I'm smarter than you, right? That's an awful way to make decisions, and he's doing that, and he's not having the best interest of the team at heart time after time after time. But even then, you have a young player, which you've already gone through this. You've already gone through this with Deuce Hogan, who you, again, took a shot at for no reason.
Yeah.
What did he do? He transferred out. Boy, it would have been nice to have
him. Kentucky of all teams.
Yeah. But boy, it would have been nice to have him last year, huh?
Yeah.
Huh? Oh, and by the way, didn't Deuce Hogan start in that game?
I think he played. I don't think he started.
Yeah, he went to Kentucky. Labus beat him.
Yeah.
Beat that team.
Yeah.
And you're taking a shot for no reason. I can't. It is so bad how you can keep making these decisions and then looking at someone on your team who's just trying to play. All he wants to do is play. And you're telling him it would be silly to go to him after this guy went 6 for 21.
Yeah.
That shit pisses me off.
Yeah, it makes.
I don't want him to be the head coach of Iowa anymore. Obviously.
Yeah, it's
How
bad.
this keeps happening, I don't understand.
Yeah, it's very bad, Tanner. I I can't remember what Twitter you. I want to say it's Heavens FX. They tweet every week. Retweet if your punter is averaging more yards than your offense. Of course, Troy Taylor live laugh punt is beating Iowa's offense by like 60 yards. Like it's not even comparable. But yes, I totally agree with you, Tanner. What has Kirk seen where he's like, "Yup, Deacon's our guy"?
Dude,
No,
if
he's been terrible both games. Yeah, me and you way overreacted,
we did.
but going from Petrus to a hurt Cade McNamara, he did look all right, right? And then this game happened, obviously, whole flip of a switch, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and just the message you're sending, right? We can talk. We all know how bad the offense is. We all know how bad the stats are. Whatever. We know how bad Brian Ferentz is. Whatever. But if your head coach consistently takes shots about, oh, if we have to play him, we're in a bad spot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it would be silly to go to him. It's worse than we thought.
Yeah.
The problems are worse than we thought. If that continues to happen, you already can't recruit anybody on the offensive side of the ball because you suck at it. Because you're awful at coaching it, unless they're a tight end. But you're awful at coaching it. If you're a wide receiver, you're just fade into the abyss. You don't get any targets. When you do, you'll drop them. You don't get any targets. Like, there's no hope for you at the next level if you're a wide receiver and you come here.
Yeah.
So you already have trouble recruiting. Then, if you're not named the starter at the beginning of the year, you're not playing at all because you can have a quarterback go checks notes 6 for 21. Have we mentioned that yet? And it would still be, quote, silly to go to you. And then you have this idea where even if you're not starting, you can just be mocked and taken shots at by your head coach. It's unbelievable, and I can't believe if you're an offensive player, please don't go to Iowa. Don't do it. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Transfer here. Don't do it. Stay far away as possible.
Yeah. I think a perfect comment about being an offensive player and just being thrown into abyss is looking at Nico Ragaini's stats over his 6 years. 6 years here. He has 133 receptions, 1,424 yards, and 4 touchdowns. That is it. That is his career total stats.
How many receptions does he have this year?
8.
Honestly, more than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly. But defense played as good as always. Made Hudson Card very uncomfortable. Forced 2 inexcusable interceptions. Kind of just threw it behind his head and hope for the best and ended up getting picked. But he was a bad quarterback. They shouldn't have scored points in this one, to be honest with you, Tanner. But the defense still played well. Iowa is still producing NFL level talent at the tight end position. I think they're going to have 2 NFL tight ends being drafted this year. And Luke Lachey, even though he's gotten hurt, and then Eric All has been proven to be one of those tight ends you want to draft. But typical Iowa win. Offense is still shit. That's not going to change, but the defense is as good as always. And Noah Shannon, defensive tackle, is back in practice. So he got cleared for practice. Still waiting on the ruling on whether he can participate in games. But this is definitely a huge step in the right direction for that Iowa already great defense. Just adding another solid piece on that defensive line that we've kind of seen struggle throughout the season. Adding Noah Shannon to that would be huge.
That would be huge. And everything I said about Kirk, I could not say the more opposite about Phil Parker. But however, my advice would be the same: get the hell out of here, bro.
Yeah,
Go,
facts.
go somewhere else and just have a stud defense, and maybe you'll have a good offense. And hey, that's a college football playoff team. But
Yeah.
if you want to stay, we're more than happy to have you. It's bad now. I've cooled off a little bit. Have you cooled off a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, good, because yeah, that stuff just really grinds my gears. But we'll move on. What do you say we go across the pond then, mate?
Yes.
What an accent.
Thank you.
What an accent. But yeah, we had an NFL game in London this past week. The Jags and the Bills.
I'm Sam in London.
Yeah.
3 straight games.
This is actually a Bills game.
Oh, duh. Duh.
Makes complete and total sense. But Bills Jags seemed like a weird one to be in London.
Yeah.
I feel like we should see Panthers Texans and
Bears Vikings maybe.
Hey, we'll talk about we may talk about it later, but that game is going to be huge for implications of the for the next few years about who is able to successfully tank better. But anyway, this game has, right there, bro.
I am.
All right, let's do it. This game had a lot of AFC playoff implications. Two teams that we expect to be in the playoffs, and the Jags kind of pull off a little bit of a stunner, took down the Bills 25-20.
The Bills looked sluggish to start this one. Looked really slow coming out. Bills are a very weird team this year. You see them kick ass the week before and then struggle the next week to put up 20 points. But really, this game came down to 2 stat categories. The rushing game being the biggest difference. 196 for the Jags with Travis Etienne contributing 136 yards, just looking like the star he is at the running back position. To Bills 29 rushing yards, forcing Josh Allen to throw. And then time of possession, Jags just had the ball longer, 38 minutes to 21 minutes for the Bills. So those 2 stats are really why the Jags kind of pulled off the stunner against the Bills.
Yeah, you said the Bills are really weird. My first thought whenever the Bills lose, talk about Josh Allen, how he doesn't take care of the football, yada yada yada. Josh Allen was great in this game.
Yeah,
I'd love to push my narrative that Josh Allen is too loose with the football. He did have a turnover, but you'll take that with 359 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
You nailed it with the run game. If for me, the Bills have 2 major issues. It's one, the run game is non-existent. Your offense is as one dimensional as it gets.
Yeah.
How you didn't go out. There was like 9 running backs available. How you didn't do any of that is beyond me. How you didn't maybe go out and sign a vet. Like Damian Harris, he's not getting the job done. Latavius Murray, I didn't even know he's still in the league.
Yeah.
James Cook had 5 carries, negative 4 yards.
Stud.
It's just not cutting it. So that run game is awful. Josh Allen was the leading rusher with 14. That run game is awful, and your offense is just way too one-dimensional. That's not going to cut it. And on defense, they desperately need to get healthy. They are just so injured on the defensive side of the ball. Von Miller, of course, fighting back from was it a torn ACL?
I believe so.
And I think Matt Milano got hurt.
Matt Milano's out.
Yeah, Matt Milano's out. I think Micah Hyde might be their only actual defender of note who's healthy.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's of course also not going to cut it when you might right now be the second best team in your division the way the Dolphins are playing. You did just beat them, however, but you know how that goes. But yeah, it's the Bills definitely. I'm starting to worry a little bit. Again, health, running game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not good, but let's move on. And the Vikings are now 1-4.
Classic.
Vikings are now 1-4. They took on the Chiefs at home, and they lost 27-20. And I think the best headline for this game, you don't expect to beat the Chiefs. The Vikings could have won this game. They fumbled again. Shocker. They didn't. You don't expect to beat the Chiefs, and I wouldn't say this was a bad loss by any means.
No.
But you're at a point in the season, any loss is a bad loss. So the headline I saw about this game, which encapsulates it perfect, is Vikings fall to the Chiefs 27-20 when a good loss feels like a bad loss.
Yeah. This was a super close game. I mean, kind of the repeating story is you can't blame this loss on Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins played great. To be honest, I can dive into the stats of this game, but there were some huge missed calls down the stretch. And honestly, I think that had a significant impact on this game. Tanner, what were your thoughts on those?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the reffing was absolutely terrible. The fourth down play for the Vikings where call pass interference, of course, you pick it up. There was a play earlier that was very similar, to which it was a fourth down as well, 4th and short. Harrison Smith gets called for pass interference. How you call one? And to be fair, I would like to put. I didn't think either of them were pass interference.
Yeah,
but you call one.
If you call one, you gotta call the other. Totally agree.
One thing. Number two, on that play, CJ Ham stepped up, laid down a great block, picked up the blitz. I think he might be like with Daniel Jones in terms of neck injury because of how far his neck went back after that clear hands to the face.
Oh my God, yeah.
That was not called. And to top it all off, they throw the original flag for pass interference that they later pick up. The cornerback who was arguing
this was the worst.
Took off his helmet to argue with the ref. Now, it's one thing if
weird move.
If the ref, first off, very weird move. Never really seen that before. But it's one thing if the ref just forgot and he's just having a conversation with him, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously that would be bad. But it's way worse when he looks at him and clearly says, "Put your helmet back on."
Mm-hmm.
That's not how this works.
Yeah.
That's not if there's someone to come across the middle and I absolutely lay him out because the ref comes to me and be like, "Hey, don't do that." No, that's a penalty. You committed the penalty. It's unbelievably frustrating to play the Chiefs because they're so good. And it's a streak now of them getting some favorable calls from the refs.
Absolutely.
They're definitely the most popular team right now between Patrick Mahomes being the darling of the NFL. And is there anything else going on with any of the Chiefs players?
Isaiah Pacheco, is he doing something? Pacheco, He's kind of a dog.
But of course, Travis Kelce being in the news as much as he is. There's a huge market out there, believe it or not.
Yeah.
The Taylor Swift has, I think, if you add up all the Twitter followers, X followers of all the NFL teams, which you already know there's many, many, many people who follow more than one.
Yeah.
But if you don't, you add them all up. Then you multiply it by 2 for all those who watch football and don't have X and don't.
Yeah.
It's still about half the followers.
It's insane.
So there's a huge market to capture. Do with that what you will. It's tinfoil hat time. I'm putting that out.
Yeah.
But when you look at the actual nitty gritty here, it's the same story over and over again with the Vikings. The lack of killer instinct. When you need it most, you disappear. Like Kirk Cousins, like one of the best Vikings quarterbacks I've seen in my lifetime. I will wish him nothing but luck in his career. And I love it. We can talk about it. Is it his fault? Is it not his fault? But when it matters most, he just disappears. You need a big drive. The Vikings go 3 and out. You need a big drive from Mahomes. He gives it to you.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we look at 1-score game stats with Kirk and we don't with Mahomes. You know why? Because Mahomes not in 1-score games.
Yeah.
He wins by 20. He wins by 30. Because that's just how good he is. And Kirk lacks that. And that's fine. That's fine. And there are a lot of teams that can win with Kirk right now. Minnesota is not one of them. The team's just not good enough. The offensive line's not good enough. The defense isn't good enough. That's fine. Doesn't mean he's a bad quarterback. It just means it's not a good fit. Move on. It's not working. This has to be the end. And the end of the Kirk Cousins era. And we also have to mention Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson with a hamstring injury. Of course, we all know how that's soft tissue, especially when you're a wide receiver dealing with that hamstring. big time danger zone. He's put on IR, which means at a minimum he's out for 4 weeks. Could be more. Again, I think this might be a blessing in disguise for Minnesota. The one reason, I think the one main reason why they couldn't just pack it in, tank, get a quarterback is because of Justin Jefferson. You need to sign him to that long term. What kind of message does it send if you go 2-15, 1-16, 3-14? What is it? 3-14? What does it say to him, right? You want to win to show him this is a good place to be. Now that he's on IR, maybe you can fully take that step back.
Yeah.
Those are just my thoughts on the game. You got anything else to add there?
No, I think you hit all the points. I mean, I was obviously curious what you thought regarding how the season has started, and then obviously the huge loss of Justin Jefferson. So I got nothing more. I'm ready to move on.
All right, let's do it.
Actually, no, we can skip that.
One of those teams that I think would be, I'm just gonna say one of those teams that I think would be Super Bowl bound, if not comfortably in the playoffs and looking at the NFC Championship game with the addition of Kirk Cousins, would be the Dallas Cowboys.
Absolutely.
Who look like they're just not quite at the level of the 49ers yet. We were quick to anoint the Cowboys, as we should have. Based on how impressive they were in their first couple of weeks, as the class of the NFC with the Niners. However, the Niners took them down 42-10. Sam, I'm dying to hear your thoughts on this performance from your beloved Cowboys.
Yeah, this was a absolute curb stomping. The 49ers are by far the best team in the NFL, and I don't even think it's particularly close. Like you said, we were talking about the Cowboys being one of the top contenders in the NFL, and the 49ers took it to them. They could do literally whatever they wanted. Brock Purdy looks like prime Tom Brady against this unbelievable defense we've talked about multiple times. 17-24, 252 yards, 4 touchdowns. Kittle, 3 receptions, 3 touchdowns. Jordan Mason, who I didn't even know was on the 49ers, call me a casual, 10 carries, 69 yards, 1 touchdown. Christian McCaffrey, 51 yards rushing, 1 touchdown, 2 receptions for 27 yards. Deebo Samuel doing it in the run game and rushing, or in the run game and the receiving game. Brandon Ayuk, just a plethora of players playing phenomenally against what we thought was one of the best defenses. But you can talk about this 49ers offense and how great they played, which no doubt they played phenomenal. Probably one of the best performances we're going to see all season. But I want to talk about their defense. They shut down the Cowboys playmakers. Dak Prescott looked like his typical self from last year. 14-24, 153 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Tony Pollard, 8 carries, 29 yards, 1 fumble. CeeDee Lamb, only 4 receptions, 49 yards. The 49ers dominated in every asset of the game. First downs, San Francisco, 25, Cowboys, 8. Third down efficiency, 6 for 11 for the 49ers. The Cowboys, 4 for 11. Total plays, 49ers, 67-49. Total yards, 421 to 197. 6.3 yards per play. I can keep going on and on, but the 49ers absolutely kicked the living dog shit out of the Cowboys, and it didn't even look like these were two comparable teams. It was the top tier of an NFL looking like playing a group of 5 college team. This was embarrassing, especially with the high expectations the Cowboys had. But let's talk about this god-awful quarterback, Dak Prescott. I think you are 100% correct. We should try and get Kirk Cousins. They compare Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott. That's a common comparison you see. No, it's never Kirk Cousins' fault that the Vikings win. It seems it's another aspect of the Vikings, but damn near all the time, it is Dak Prescott causing a loss. throwing the ball in critical positions, in critical games. Yes, he looks good against the Giants, but who doesn't? Who looks good against the other bottom tier teams like Zach Wilson, first game in this season? He dominated then. He cannot beat good teams on a season by season basis. I'm calling for Dak to be let go. It's time to move on. Bring in fresh new blood. I love to bring on Kirk Cousins, but it's time to move on from Dak. And Mike McCarthy, I guess we're stuck with him, but I'd love to see him go too because he coached terribly this game, did not make any adjustments throughout the game. And it just showed the gap between the 49ers and the rest of the NFL.
Breaking news here on Crunch Time. Sam has counseled to Prescott. Counseled
So
Prescott.
bad.
He wants him gone.
It's the same story every big game. And I'm just sick and tired of it.
Get it, man. I totally get it. Definitely like it's very Cousins-esque of the not showing up in big games, but it seems like at least for Cousins that has in recent, in the last 1.5, 2 years, looks like he might be showing up. And if you had we talked about this at length. I'm not gonna continue to do that. But of course, Sam, we do need to have this conversation because how good are the Cowboys really? I do want to get because they have 3 wins, yes, against very bad teams, but they won with a combined score of 108-13 in those 3 wins. 108-13, 95 points plus 95 in the point differential. But of course, losing to the Cardinals, who again, nowhere near as bad as everyone expected them to be, but not a great loss, and then getting absolutely trounced by the Niners. I mean, where do your expectations lie? Does this change anything? Or is it still kind of you expect to be right there in the end, fighting for the NFC?
I think it would be a bit of an overreaction to say we wouldn't be competing for the NFC. I still think we are a good, very top tier team, but it's definitely concerning when we play good teams. Like it's very confusing because you see them, like you said, just dominate who we're supposed to dominate, but then one team we run into, at least exclude the Cardinals because that was tough. But I mean,
one thing I will say is that if there's anyone who can sympathize with that, I mean, granted, the Vikings last year didn't beat the crap out of teams, right? They were historic in the 1-run games, whatever. But in a similar scenario, when Cowboys go to the 49ers, we expect it to be this preview of the NFC Championship, yada, 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 and they get absolutely trounced. Well, Vikings, after winning that crazy game against the Bills, they return home to face the Cowboys, NFC matchup, and the Cowboys win 3, right? So it's definitely exactly how I felt during that game, where you're winning games, like you look pretty good doing it. You keep winning, but there's just something inside you that's like, we're not on the level of these other teams.
Yeah, I think that's where the Cowboys sit. But like I said, I think it'd be a little bit of an overreaction if this team didn't end up near the top of the NFC. Obviously, a lot of questions surrounding that quarterback play, but our defense is still phenomenal. Again, exclude this game because they got absolutely embarrassed. But I think another thing I want to highlight is I think the Trayvon Diggs loss is a lot bigger than Cowboys fans, including myself, expected. And another thing on the defensive end, Micah Parsons, quit talking before the game. Let the game speak for yourself, my brother. Come on. He did against the Cardinals. He did against this one and against the 49ers and got embarrassed both times.
If you wear red, Micah Parsons is going to yell at you.
Yeah.
But of course, we also do got to mention the bad blood at the end. At the end of the game, I think it was Kittle was wearing a shirt that had some colorful language about Dallas.
F the Cowboys. That was solid.
Yeah, and I think these teams don't really like each other.
Yeah, Definitely not.
And also, in fairness of your defense, about what was this showing? I mean, the 49ers have not scored less than 30 in a game this year.
Yeah, they are
So
just that. I think
just that
I
good.
think it was more a statement about how truly dominant
Yeah,
the 49ers offense is than how bad
also,
bad the
when you're down 28-10 and your offense literally can't gain a yard.
yeah.
We've seen it so many times with Iowa where
Yeah, exactly.
you're in the game because of your defense, and then the offense isn't doing anything. You're just like you're tired, you're all that,
Definitely.
But of course, only thing I want to say about the 49ers, other than their dominance, I think it's time we say Brock Purdy is a good quarterback.
Yeah.
I think it's time we say.
I think so.
I still think he doesn't deserve to be anywhere near the MVP conversation.
Yeah.
I think there are multiple players on his team who have a better case than he does.
100%.
But he's a good quarterback.
He's
a good quarterback. And we watched different quarterbacks play in this system. We watched Jimmy Garoppolo do it forever. He won a lot of games. But we would watch him and we'd be like, ew, yikes.
Yeah.
Like, ooh. Like, imagine if they get a real quarterback.
Yeah. So
that doesn't happen with Brock. Brock looks good. The eye test is good. Obviously, he hasn't lost a regular season game. To be fair, he has Christian McCaffrey. Jimmy G didn't, but still, he's a good quarterback. Where'd we put him?
So a couple episodes ago, we had a tier of
oh geez, we can't even get it out
of quarterbacks. We had Brock Purdy at the bottom of C, in between Jordan Love, and I believe that's Ryan Tannehill.
Yikes! Not great, Bob.
We also had Tua in tier C.
Not great. Not great. Oh man, 2-on don't come next. But yeah, we were obviously on that. It's a system thing, and last year I think there were some throws where he massively underthrew or where things didn't look right, and we're like, that Jimmy G, where it's the is just yikes. But this year he has been phenomenal.
Absolutely
phenomenal. His accuracy's been better. He's more comfortable in the offense with all his weapons and everything. So this year he's absolutely been.
Yeah, he's a stud.
Yeah.
It's time to put away he's a system quarterback. Now he's just a very good quarterback.
I tend to agree, but that's going to wrap it up for our game recaps. A lot of good stuff over the past weekend. But before we finish with the week of football, we do, of course, need to crown our players of the week. Sam, who is our player of the week in the college game in the NCAA?
Yeah, this one is a unique one. I was searching. I could have gone a big Power 5 guy having a great game. But I'm going to go with a Buffalo Bull defensive player, safety Devin Grant against Central Michigan. Allowed just one reception from 5 targets. He finished the game with 3 interceptions. He took back 2 of those.
Oh my gosh. God.
Yeah, I think if you have 3 interceptions and taking 2 back for pick 6 and only allowing 1 reception, definitely makes you a candidate and the winner for college football player of the week.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Hey, Phil Parker.
Parker, Devin Grant, looking nice.
I would poker, but him and I are not speaking. Yeah, I mean that's definitely an Iowa defense-esque stat line right there. 3 interceptions, 2 to the house. I always love college football player of the week because there's so many college football games.
Yeah.
Like 1 week we'll get, a Power 5. 1 week we'll get a defender. 1 week we'll get someone from St. Mary's School for the Blind. It's so much fun to hear about all these games we might not have watched and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
In the NFL, of course, we don't have that luxury, but I am going to go with a team that's like St. Mary's of the Blind adjacent. DJ Moore of the Chicago Bears. I would like to remind everybody that this guy had it might have been 0 targets, might have been like I think a
Yeah.
handful in week 1 against the Packers. Because against the Commanders on Thursday night, DJ Moore had 8 receptions for 230 yards and
Oh my
three
God.
touchdowns. 8 for 230. I mean, quick math. Eight
Uh,
eight for 240 would have been 30 yards of reception. So a little under 30 yards and 3 touchdowns.
That's gross. Not bad.
Yeah, and don't look now. Justin Fields, another great game himself, added another 4 touchdowns after his 4 touchdowns a week ago. Fields starting to figure it
Yeah.
out. Maybe his comments did have some merit to it. Let me be me. Let me be mobile. And let me use DJ Moore because he is damn good.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely worthy of NFL Player of the Week.
Can't believe I can't believe we're doing a Bears player has ever won Player of the Week.
Who would have thought?
Here we are. Ready to pick some games?
Let's do it.
Our favorite segment in the NFL season, of course, is Pick'em. Had a pretty good week for our Super Dogs last week. I believe we both won our Super Dogs a week ago. But Sam, hit us with an update on the standings and how things went last week.
Yeah, so last week we picked a couple games. Red River rivalry.
There we go.
I had Oklahoma, Tara had Texas. We both lost out against LSU when we took Missouri. I took Kentucky. You took Georgia. We both hit with Alabama. We both lost with Washington State. I trusted the Cowboys. You did not. And then we both hit our Super Dogs. I had Rutgers with 14 points against Wisconsin. You had Iowa State versus TCU with 7.5. Both of those hit. Yours outright. Props to you, Tanner. That puts you weekly total at 5, mine 4. That gives you a 2-point lead going into this week with 28 points. I have 26. So nice and competitive about halfway through Pick'em season.
Dude, I love Super Dog. I'm just going to say I absolutely love the Super Dog that we added this year. But let's pick some games. We're going to start out hot with the best game of the entire weekend.
By far.
Best game of the entire weekend. Number 8, Oregon, just goes up the road to Seattle to take on number 7, Washington. Who wins?
Dude, this game is going to be crazy.
I'm so excited. This game is
This is a flip of a coin for me, honestly, Tanner. Bo Nix is playing Heisman and then like we said earlier in this pod, Michael Penix Jr. is on his way to Heisman candidacy. I had Michael Penix as a dark horse. I don't think he's a dark horse anymore. I got the Huskies beating the Ducks at home behind their quarterback, Michael Penix.
Dude, I am the same right there with you. It's an absolute coin flip. I mean, the spread recognizes it too. I mean, usually home away, you get a 3-point swing in your favor in the line. Washington -3, right? The books are at a coin flip pretty much as well. But I think I'm gonna agree. As disappointing as it is, I got Washington here. They're so much fun to watch. Not that Oregon isn't.
Yeah.
But I already know Seattle is going to be rocking.
Yeah.
Absolutely rocking. So, I mean, it's the best game of the weekend. So, unfortunately, from the pick'ems, it only goes downhill from here. But now next, we got another top 25 matchup. Big time rivalry. You have USC narrowly escaping Arizona in disaster last week, taking on the Irish, the struggling Irish, of course, as we've talked about. Irish are 2.5-point favorites. Sam, who do you got?
Everything in my body is telling me to pick USC in this one. They are clearly the better team in this one. But some is telling me to trust the luck of the Irish. I think Sam Hartman gets on track. We've seen him struggle in the past 3 games. I mentioned it earlier. I got the Irish at home against USC, pulling out a narrow win here.
That's That's a decent pick, Sam. Decent pick. If your offense is struggling, there is no better medicine than
Yeah,
going to play this USC defense. Holy moly, are they bad?
they're horrible.
They're bad. They are absolutely terrible. I tell you what, I've gone back and forth, but from the beginning, I had USC as my playoff team. I'm gonna stick with it. I think the way the Arizona game went was is going to be a blessing in disguise. I'll put it for USC because it's always better to learn from a win than a loss.
Yeah,
If you're going to play like crap, might as well win.
yeah,
But they know they have to be better. Coaching staff knows they need to be better, and I think they just got a big shake in their chair. Wake the hell up! It's not going to be a
yeah.
cakewalk, and they got a big test here in Notre Dame. But I think USC is going to get the win on the road, so I got the Trojans here. Next game, another top 25 matchup. We got a few this week in college football. Number 25, Miami, fresh off of that loss that I simply cannot describe, versus North Carolina, who looks damn good right now with Drake May. 3.5-point favorites for the Heels in Chapel Hill. Who you got?
I mean, you said it, looking good as hell with Drake May. Drake May had 442 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Kind of got back on track this past weekend. I think it continues this week. I got UNC, and I honestly think UNC kind of steamrolls Miami. I'm not very high on Miami this year.
Yeah, I'm on the Heels as well. I think right now that locker room has just got to be. You seen the clip of the linemen saying with some colorful language, basically, "What are we doing?
Yeah,
How does this happen?" We're wondering the same thing, my man. Yeah, I think there's a lot of questioning going around. It's not good for the locker room. UNC's firing on all cylinders. Drake May looks awesome. Give me the Heels at home. Let's look at the NFL now.
yeah.
My 1-4 Vikings
8.
go to Soldier Field to take on the 1-4 Bears as well. The Vikes are 3-point favorites. Sam, who do you have in this game?
I got the Bears, Tanner. I think the Vikings are going to struggle moving the ball, especially without their go-to guy, Justin Jefferson, out for 4 weeks. And it seems like that Justin Fields, DJ Moore connection is on fire right now, one of the hottest connections. Like you said a couple minutes ago, I got the Bears win this one.
Damn it, Sam. I thought this was going to be one we were going to be different. I mean, I've got the Bears here too. I mean, especially with no Jefferson, right? This Soldier Field has been an absolute house of horrors for Minnesota. We talked about how Justin Fields looks better, how DJ Moore looks better. I think this is potential disaster area for the Vikings. The only thing that works in their favor is that the Bears defense is horrible. The Bears defense.
This is true.
Bears defense is awful. And I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, with the state of their season, maybe it won't be the biggest home field advantage in the world, but it's still Soldier Field. It's still a place where you don't play well. Of course, the turf is going to be bad. Like, the grass is going to be bad. You're going to be slipping. You're going to be sliding. The surface is going to be awful. It's just not good. It's not good for the Vikings. Give me the Bears to win this at home. And then once that happens, then the tank is fully on.
There you go.
Next game, we have the Colts, Indianapolis, going to Jacksonville, fresh off their big win over Buffalo. Jacksonville is actually playing in the U.S. this week.
Really?
Congratulations to Jacksonville. Welcome back. Who you got in this game?
This is a sneaky good game. We've kind of seen the Jags be up and down all season. You win a big game, you fall off the next weekend. It seems that is peaks and valleys with this team. The Colts going to be playing without Anthony Richardson, which is a cause for concern, but they get Jonathan Taylor back. Full week of preparation, kind of hopped into it early last week. I got the Colts sneaking out a win on the road in Jacksonville here.
Wow, I like it. Minshew Mania.
Minshew Mania.
Jacksonville. Yeah, I wonder if Jacksonville is looking at the stadium and wondering what to do if it's not a soccer stadium. If it might. But in all seriousness, I think the Jags do get the win at home. I think that win against Buffalo is all the jolt they'll need. I mean, realistically, when we're looking at they lost to Kansas City in Kansas City. It happens, right? Not a bad loss by any stretch. Then you lost to Houston, which a game that you just didn't really show up for.
Yeah.
Right? It's just one weekend. Other than that, they've looked pretty good, right? They've looked like a team that should be competing in the AFC, specifically in that AFC South. So I'm gonna go with the Jags to get the win at home. Hopefully, Jags faithful can show out after that big win over in London, but your team just continually plays in London.
Yeah.
How much loyalty do you show there? But
Exactly.
I got the Jags at home here. In our next game, we've got the Lions. The Lions, 4-1 Lions, looking like one of the best teams in the NFC right now, taking on the Bucks in Tampa. Lions are 3-point favorites. So you got?
I got the Lions, man. I think not only one of the best teams in the NFC, I'm going to turn it to the NFL. They are steaming hot right now, on fire. Have one of the best rookies in Sam Laporte. Shout out tight end you, the University of Iowa, putting on a show. Jared Goff, obviously, can't say enough about him. I got the Lions here.
None, Dad. Lions comfortably here. I totally agree with you. Did you see, by the way, I hate to bring up some fresh wounds, but the first George Kittle touchdown,
Yeah,
and the Sam Laporta play were the exact same play.
Yep.
The Iowa tight end play, right? You got to throw it to an Iowa tight end. Hey, Kevin O'Connell, I want to get CJ Hawkinson involved with that. But yeah, I got the Lions here. They're looking really good.
Yeah.
Third best team in the NFC or higher behind the Niners and Eagles.
Yeah, dude, it might be.
Unless you still got your Cowboys ahead of them.
I don't know if I can say that after.
That's fair. And then we're gonna finish off the pick'em segment, or at least the games, the pick'em games before our Superdog. We're gonna go with the Cowboys, who are 2-point favorites. I would say, I mean, game's in LA, but we know there's gonna be more Cowboys fans there.
Absolutely.
Sam, who you got in this one?
Yeah, I think this is a get right game for the Cowboys, especially going up against their previous offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore. And honestly, I think the Cowboys get right with this game and they come out of LA with a win.
Not so fast, my friend. We've got the Kellen Moore revenge game. I am here for it. You know he's ready. He's locked and loaded to play this game. He's going to have that offense firing on all cylinders. I'm just going to go with the Chargers here. I think they get this win, a must have for LA if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive in that AFC. And yeah, I mean, I think this game is going to be won on the shoulders of two people, Kellen Moore and Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert has looked awesome this year.
Definitely.
So I'm going to put my faith in them, and I'm going to go with the Chargers to get this win. So that leaves with only one thing, Sam. We do need to go to our super dog. Again, 2-0 last week. No big deal. Who you got this week?
Yeah, there's a lot of games I was looking at, but I decided to go with this one. Give me Wyoming plus 10.5 against Air Force. Air Force is off to a hot start to start the season. But Wyoming took care of 24 Fresno State last week, working on a 3-game win streak. I think they keep it close against Air Force. Give me Wyoming plus 10.5.
I like it, man. Wyoming has been awesome this year. Upset Texas Tech. Gave Texas a run for their money. I mean, Air Force isn't from Texas, so maybe Wyoming, but maybe the juice only flows in Wyoming if they're playing someone from Texas. But I like the pick. I'm going to go back to the conference that won me last week. Let's hop back into the Big 12. Give me the Cowboys at home. I'm riding on Oklahoma State plus 3. They welcome in Kansas, a team who has looked pretty good this year. However, they haven't really played anybody. I'm looking at the schedule. If I can get it to load, there we go. They've beaten Missouri State, Illinois, who is awful, Nevada, BYU, got smoked by Texas, and UCF. So haven't really played anybody yet this year. And Oklahoma State, since that embarrassing lost at home to South Alabama. That was the game that I think a lot of people were just completely out on this Oklahoma State Cowboys
Yeah.
team. They've looked okay. They did have a little bit of a hiccup in Ames, but it looks like Ames might be a Iowa State might be a decent team at home.
Decent.
But coming off a big win at home versus Kansas State, they're returning home. I think Stillwater will be rocking. They love their Oklahoma State Cowboy football, and they look like a different team at home since that South Alabama loss. And yeah, Kansas, I think they have to play a decent team in a hostile environment, conference game. Give me Oklahoma State +3.
I like it.
Sweet. Yeah. I mean, let's see if we can have another flawless week on our super dogs. Trying to think, like, we're certainly in plus territory with our super dogs,
I
right?
believe
We're
so. Yeah.
combined. Yeah, we'll get that information. I'm sure we'll maybe have it for next week's episode or tweet it or something like that.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up episode 105, we do have a few questions. Thank you guys. Thank you everybody for submitting these questions. We'll start off. Football related. We just got done talking about football. Dana Riley wants to know who's the best duo in the NFL.
Yeah, this one's interesting. There obviously is a lot of good duos in this league. I mean, golly, there's so many. Obviously the big one right now, the Kelsey Bros being a massive one right now. But on the field, it's hard to go against Tua and Tyreek Hill putting up unbelievable numbers, historic numbers throughout the start of the NFL season. So I'm going to go with Tua and Tyreek, but there's a lot of options out there.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed in here it just says who's the best duo. It doesn't necessarily say who's the best QB wide receiver duo.
Definitely.
So I'm going to go with one without a QB.
I like it.
I'm going to go with the two best playmakers on the best team in the NFL. I'm going to go Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel.
Nice. I like it.
With their speed, with their yards after catch ability, and with their versatility.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times has Deebo lined up in the backfield? Has Christian McCaffrey lined up in the slot or out wide? They can do it all. And the interchangeability of all of it is part of the reason that guys like Kittle, Ayuk, even Ray McLeod, I think, gets some, and that running back that we talked about earlier that we both learned is on the 49ers today when looking at this game. It's part of the reason why they're so deep is because the elite talent is borderline unstoppable, and they're so versatile that it makes everything easier on everybody. So if I had two people to choose from and to start an offense,
those are
hard not to take Christian McCaffrey.
It's definitely hard.
Samuel. Yeah. I mean, technically, Christian McCaffrey's running back. Deebo is wide receiver. Two best utility players in the NFL.
1,000%.
So sticking with the NFL, Ron Godsey wants to know what's wrong with the Patriots. They look absolutely awful right now. They do have one win over the Jets, and I mean, they simply just don't lose to the Jets. They won like almost 20 straight against the Jets.
It's crazy.
It is kind of crazy. But this year, they look absolutely awful. Is it time for Belichick to go, Sam?
This was a very interesting question. I thought about when obviously he submitted. I don't think it's time for Belichick to go. I think we have such a high standard for the Patriots due to number 12. Tom Brady is the GOAT quarterback, and he's been to New England. He's been at New England for so long. They were used to being a top tier team year in and year out. Eventually, once he leaves, you're going to have some crappy teams. I think this is just one of them. I mean, Mac Jones has looked awful this year. Doesn't really have a lot of playmakers around him. I think they're just really at the beginning of the rebuild process. But I think letting one of the greatest coaches of all time go just because of a couple bad years would be a wrong decision.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, this is the type of hard-hitting analysis you tune in for. What's wrong with them? They're just not that good.
Yeah.
The roster is just not good. Like you look to the year that Mac Jones made the playoffs, right? And he looked like a competent quarterback. And the Patriots looked like they might be okay with Mac Jones. The defense was awesome,
Yeah.
right? You had J.C. Jackson in the secondary, who's now back after a trade, but you had he was looking like the best cornerback in the league. Matthew Judon, who got hurt earlier in the year, he's looking like the best pass rusher in the league. They had Kyle Van Noy back then, and they lost him to the Chargers. Well, like the defense was stellar. The run game was still pretty good. I mean, they haven't really gotten anything going on offense this year. More pressure on Mac Jones as to why he struggled, I think, but they just had more weapons and they had a better defense. So between injuries and the quality of the roster, they're just not that good.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's time to let Belichick go. It's time to get a new quarterback. That's what it's time to do. And hopefully you can develop him under the tutelage of Belichick and rebuild that defense and kind of get back to Patriots football where you have weapons upon weapons. And you have a guy like Tom Brady who can throw a little 5-yard ins and outs and they can ride that off to Super Bowl victory. So no, I think we're both in agreement. It's not quite time to let Belichick go.
How many offensive players at skill positions can you name for the? I got 2.
I know I can name Juju Smith-Schuster.
Didn't even know he was a Patriot.
Yeah, but apparently his knee's gonna explode.
Yeah. Okay.
I think they have Kendrick Bourne, maybe.
Could tell you.
I think. They have Hunter
Henry, Arkansas lone baby.
And they have Ramondre Stevenson and Zeke Elliott. Yep.
Hmm.
So I think that's 5.
There you go. You're cooking.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah, I had Zeke and Hunter Henry. So that just shows you the lack of offensive weapons the Patriots are working with.
And it is officially official. The Texas Rangers have made it to the ALCS. So congratulations to Texas, to everybody except for Max Scherzer on Texas. Shall we move on?
Let's do it.
Next question from Mason Dyslin, my brother. He wants to know if Iowa had to change its mascot from the Hawkeyes, what are a few options you'd like to change it to?
Dude, I have no idea.
I really don't either.
I don't
either. I got it. I think we need to honor the Iowa tradition.
Okay.
Give me the Iowa goose eggs.
Oh, that's good.
Because they don't score crap.
I was thinking ghost because there's no offensive players ever.
There we go. I think I might have a good one.
All right.
The Iowa nepotists.
Nice. I was thinking nepo babies, but yeah,
One things we like to do is give jobs to our children.
Yeah.
But I mean, in all honesty, though, like Hawkeyes is the perfect name. Obviously,
yeah, the Hawkeye State.
What is Iowa known for? Corn. Can't really take that because that's Nebraska.
The Corn Belters.
Corn Belters.
There you go.
There you go. I mean, you've kind of taken like weather and tornadoes with Iowa State as the site.
Yeah.
I don't really know what Northern Iowa is doing. They're not really. Do you see any Panthers roaming around
the
state of Iowa?
Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting one.
It is an interesting one. So, sorry, we couldn't really come up with
the Nepo babies. I'm sure he'll be.
But yeah,
he'll appreciate that.
Yeah, one. We'll go. Nepo babies and goose eggs.
Yeah,
is what we'll stick to.
There you go.
Next, Eric Gotze wants to know, when's basketball season?
Yeah. Being an Arkansas fan, he's kind of going through it. He said he had more fun at the Iowa game last week, which is saying something of how bad the Arkansas season's going. Eric, it is November 7th. Y'all take on the Louisiana Monroe. So just a month, just about less than a month, you'll get Muss back in his unbelievably recruiting class. You'll probably have another 3 NBA stars. So just a couple more weeks, man.
Yeah. just a couple more weeks. I think maybe you can get in touch with some Purdue fans. They're also wondering when the basketball season starts.
Yeah.
I mean, there this list is a lot smaller than it normally is with the amount of basketball blue bloods. I mean, Kentucky looks pretty good right now.
Good.
Duke, UNC
Louisville.
are both top
Louisville's
17.
pretty good.
Louisville,
Michigan State could join you.
Michigan State could join you. Yeah, Michigan State will be in there.
How's Gonzaga football doing?
Villanova football. Yeah, there are definitely some teams that are there with you. So patience is a virtue.
I'm there with you, but I'm more of a women's basketball guy, you know.
The segue, God,
I know.
love it.
You're welcome.
I love it because this question is from my mom. Carrie Dyslin wants to know, what do you think about the Iowa women's basketball team this year? Obviously, expectations are sky high. You have the absolute GOAT, Caitlin Clark, leading the team. They were the runners-up a year ago. Everyone's on board. You're starting to get now some crazy NIL, State Farm. Of course, she's at Hy-Vee for a while, the Iowa staple. But Stephen A. Smith is on board. He's talking about how Caitlin Clark's the best basketball player in the women's game, how Caitlin Clark is absolute box office, the Steph Curry of the women's game, as he said. So what are your expectations for the season this year, man? I mean, hard not to be sky high, right?
Exactly, Tara. I think it'd be a disservice to the GOAT of women's basketball, Caitlin Clark, to not expect the highest, and that is to return to the national championship, even Final Four. I do think there's going to be some growing pains at the start, but when you have a girl like Caitlin Clark being your star of the team, it's going to be, she's going to make it easier for everyone else. I think that's one of her most underrated parts of her game. You hear all about her scoring ability, but she's just as good as being a playmaker. We have a lot of returners. Gabby Marshall. We got Kate Martin coming back. We did lose Maka Cesano, but I'm blanking on her name. But she won like Big Ten Sixth Man of the Year last year. So we reloaded, and I expect very high things from the women's basketball team.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree here. I mean, the Big Ten should be obvious, right?
Yeah.
You have Ohio State and you have Indiana, teams they competed with last year. I mean, I think they played Ohio State in the championship game and they beat them by like 40.
Yeah.
So
and the Ohio State coach was like, I was not that good this year at Mia Day.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Whatever. All right, Michael Parsons. Get it.
All right.
And then, I mean, Indiana, where they had some tough battles a year ago. Of course, Clark hit the buzzer beater against Indiana last year. But, I mean, when you look nationally, an interesting team is UConn, right?
Always.
Of Paige Buckets.
Yeah.
How are they going to look? Obviously, they're always going to be pretty good and be able to recruit pretty well. But, of course, the top dog is LSU.
Yeah.
The team that took you down in the title game, they just got better.
Reloaded. The Haley Van Lith. Yep.
Thanks.
Nice.
Hot dog. For all
whoops.
Other fans out there. But anyway, yeah, Haley Van Lith, they look like they're going to be just as good as they were a year ago. And, of course, they were the best a year ago.
Yeah.
So expectations are sky high. Certainly, at a minimum, the Big Ten would love another trip to the Final Four. Obviously, maybe even a title. But Cesano are going to be those are huge shoes to fill. And, well, the team that beat you last year, they also got better with so tall task to bring home everything and finish where you did a year ago. But, of course, with Caitlin Clark, anything is possible. That's going to wrap it up for episode 105 of Crunch Time. Congratulations. You have made it to the end. You should follow the podcast on on X, TikTok, and Instagram at crunchtime_pod. Of course, follow us on YouTube at Crunchtime with the N326 duo. You can follow Sam at
on X, it's Sam Godsey 29 and Instagram Sam_Godsey 21.
You can follow me at Dyslin 22 on both X and Instagram. course, we also got merch. Can't end the episode without shouting out the merch, and all of that stuff is linked on our socials, so you will find all that stuff there. Go pick up some stuff. Let us know if you pick up some stuff. We will personally shout you out. Of course, you got to shout out my parents. They picked up some stuff.
Yeah.
So thanks, mom and dad, for
Yeah.
picking up some crunch time stuff.
My uncle Josh Zaruba also copping some merch.
Shout out
He was
Josh.
rocking it this past weekend, so huge shout out to him.
Shout out Josh. Yeah, we love to see it. Thank you guys so much for all the questions, for the support. All of it means a lot. But the clock has run out on this episode, and we'll see you in the next one on Crunch Time.
Yer.